Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, your superstore on Long Island for everything you need to make sure your home or business is clean and safe this winter with salt, sand, mag ice pellets and flakes, Pelledo, spreaders, snow blowers, shovels, ice scrapers, whatever you need to get you through these rounds of winter weather we're getting. They're the place to go. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, on Long Island, north of the Southern State Parkway and Sunrise Highway, and south of the LIE. They service the entire tri-state area, and they have the lowest prices around and the biggest supply of rock salt you can find. So head over to Omni. The website is omnitruevalue.com. I'm going to go through what's going on here in the Northeast. The dense fog advisory has expired. Fog is the big snow eater, and we've lost a lot of snow cover just from the fog alone. And now we're going to be dealing with milder temperatures today and heavy rains. But we do have advisories setting up for tomorrow. I'm going to talk about a few geographic areas. As far as we'll start with Long Island. If you're in northern Nassau, northwest Suffolk County, this is probably the area that has the greatest risk for some icing. There are no advisories up. We're thinking that any ice accretion will be low, 500ths or less, enough to certainly maybe eventually glaze some of the roadways. But this is going to happen probably after 10 or 11 o'clock. There's a small window tomorrow afternoon before the precipitation stops. So it'll be a matter of just watching the temperatures. If they fall below 32 and get down into the 20s, you're going to have a problem. If you're on the South Shore, I think you're going to be okay for the most part. Again, unless it turns colder faster. That's the one caveat here. In New Jersey, if you're south of Route 78, I think while there might be some light icing here too, it will be on the light side and probably not happen until late morning or afternoon, or maybe right before precipitation comes to an end. So I'm not really too concerned about that. We do have winter weather advisories that are up for areas in North Jersey and also in parts of southeastern. Actually, the winter weather advisories go all the way up the Hudson Valley. And for southern Connecticut and northern Connecticut as well, we have winter weather advisories. And here, where the ice accretion could be a bit more, if the cold air comes in a little faster, I'm thinking anywhere from as little as a tenth to maybe pockets of a quarter of an inch or more in northwest Jersey and in parts of the Hudson Valley. So here the icing is a little bit more of a serious one. None of this, I think, is going to ever fall high enough for the category that we would call it a genuine ice storm, at least from what I'm seeing at the moment. Elsewhere, we have winter storm watches up for eastern Massachusetts and also for southern Massachusetts north of the Connecticut line. Warnings further north and west, and warnings are up in New Hampshire, in Maine, Vermont, most of upstate New York, including the Albany area, northern Pennsylvania. Advisories extend back through eastern and central Pennsylvania, but as we go into Pennsylvania, the southern part of the state is going to get far less than the north. It's northeastern Pennsylvania that I think stands the greatest chance that we could see ice accretion levels going from a quarter to as much as a half an inch, as well as seeing those ice rates being on the high side, also in parts of the, as we said, the lower Hudson Valley. And I'll show you a wide view here of the ice accretion forecast. And the bigger amounts, you see them here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Also, again, northwest New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, 2,500s to about 3,500s, but some local areas could wind up higher. The light icing for Long Island. New York City is sort of in a funny spot. The less urban parts of New York City, which is not that many, but those areas might ice up a bit faster than, say, Midtown Manhattan. And at least when you go to Central and South Jersey, it's less. But I think you might see a little ice accretion maybe as far south as 195. That's kind of how I see all of this. And as far as snow is concerned, I just want to point out, first of all, this is WPC's snow map probability of at least greater than 1 inch. And you'll notice, at least for the areas down in the near the coast, their probability is zero. They don't seem to think that there'll be anything more than maybe a coating, or perhaps in some spots, perhaps amounts going higher. You really have to go up the Hudson Valley and on up into northern Massachusetts and into southern New Hampshire and Vermont to start getting into snow. And also in Pennsylvania, it's all in northwest Pennsylvania where we're seeing it. And again, you look from Friday morning into Friday afternoon, it really doesn't move very much. So you kind of know where the frontal boundary is set up initially, which is just inland, and we're just waiting for it to sink down along the coast. The probability of freezing rain, the WPC has actually raised this a bit, of a tenth of an inch ice accretion. The second shade of blue, the second darkest shade of blue in northern New Jersey, going into eastern Pennsylvania and on north through the Catskills and the Hudson Valley, and just about touching southern Westchester County and New York City. And also you can see this area down in southeastern New England, as well as in western Connecticut and western Mass. That's all 50% or greater for at least a tenth of an inch. So I always like to use that 50% line as kind of the area where it's the most likely to occur. So the good news is, and there is lots of good news with this actually, that you'll like, is that once we're done with this, I think our weather's going to be pretty calm through the weekend and probably through at least the first half of next week. It might get interesting after that. We'll talk about that tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And our guest tonight will be Tony Gigi, retired meteorologist from the National Weather Service in Mount Holly. And we will also have meteorologist Bill Goodman, who is a current forecaster over at the National Weather Service in Upton, New York, on Long Island. He covers the New York City tri-state area. So we're going to have some on and off rain. You see most of it actually goes from New York City northward initially. Then we'll get into some heavier rain tonight and overnight into tomorrow morning. And then we're going to watch that 32-degree line very closely tomorrow as it sinks southward. See where it gets here. This is at 11 a.m. tomorrow as the wave goes by. You're starting to see that freezing rain moving into New York City, western Long Island, to New Jersey down through Route 78. And then it just moves along. And actually, by about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's just about all done. And then we're going to continue to turn colder into Saturday. Again, I don't see any problems through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Just a couple of asterisks here when it comes to what's going to happen tomorrow. The rain from tonight will actually help things as long as the temperature doesn't fall at a rapid rate. It doesn't look like the temperature will fall at a rapid rate, but the cold air is up to the north, and I'm always a little suspicious when you have highs to the north. Sometimes the cold air likes to come in a rush. But if the cold air comes in where the temperature drops, say, a degree every couple of hours, or kind of holds at 30 or 31, the rain falling tonight, while they won't be able to brine roads because rain will wash it away, the rain itself and the wet roads will actually stay warmer for a couple of hours before they finally cool down enough to allow for some icing to develop on paved surfaces. So that's one plus. As long as we don't see temperatures go from, say, 32 to, say, 28 in the span of an hour, that may cause a problem. But the rain tonight will buy us some time, and it'll be fast. We're talking about several to 6 hours worth of icing, longer icing going on inland where the changeover might occur in northern New Jersey, for example, particularly northwest New Jersey, northeast PA, the Hudson Valley into northwest Connecticut, might change over around 3 or 4 a.m. to freezing rain, and then it works its way down to the coast. Any changeover down closer to New York City, northern New Jersey, and Long Island will occur afterward, after 7 and before, say, noontime. Meanwhile, I just want to show you the status of this storm system. We still have winter storm warnings up from New Mexico through the southern plains, through the Ohio Valley, ice storm warnings back through Kentucky, western Tennessee, down into parts of Arkansas and northwest Mississippi. Winter storm warnings through Ohio, on up through western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and into New England. Advisories on either side. If they're going to put up additional advisories further south, It's probably going to wait until either tonight or more than likely tomorrow morning. So this is not going to be a major ice storm event from what I'm seeing here. It looks like we'll be okay from that respect. But icing is always a problem. So if the roads ice up, you want to exercise extreme caution. If it's iced up in your area tomorrow, I would strongly suggest not driving in it at all. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the phone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So as we watch all this rain headed our way, as you see there on the latest radar shot, the Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Retired meteorologist Tony Gigi from the National Weather Service in Mount Holly, New Jersey, will be one of our guests, and hopefully we will also have meteorologist Bill Goodman, current forecaster at the National Weather Service in Upton, New York on Long Island. So we hope to see you then.